We're going to be talking about Brittney Griner here in this video. As you guys know, Brittney Griner is all for biological men going over into the WNBA. She was actually on record saying this, guys. She is all a part of the mission to destroy women's sports. Now, Riley Gaines and a few other women out there are actually fighting the good fight to actually save women's sports. But super woke athletes like a Megan Rapinoe or a Brittney Griner, they want men to actually come into women's sport.
The WNBA is caught in the middle of a growing firestorm and, this time, it's about far more than just basketball. A recent incident involving Brittney Griner and Caitlin Clark has sparked outrage and ignited a national debate. Stepping into the spotlight, former NCAA swimmer Riley Gaines has openly called out what she and many others view as blatant racism and a disturbing double standard within the league. This controversy has pulled back the curtain on deeper issues plaguing the WNBA: biased officiating, inconsistent player treatment, and an apparent inability to support or protect its most marketable star, Caitlin Clark. Even more troubling is the league's response or lack of one. Critics argue that the WNBA appears more focused on pushing political narratives than it is on growing the sport or safeguarding its players. As tensions rise, questions loom large. What message does this send to fans? Can the league survive without fully embracing its biggest draw? And perhaps most significantly, what happens if Caitlin Clark decides she's had enough and takes her talents elsewhere?
Thursday night, Indiana Fever and Atlanta Dream played. Indiana Fever is where Caitlin Clark plays. Atlanta Dream is where Brittney Griner plays. Now you tell me what it looks like Brittney Griner is saying here. For a little bit of context, this was in the fourth quarter after Brittney Griner fouled out against Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever would go on to win by 5. Now I'm going to tell you what I think she said. Let's play it back. Looks to me like she is saying trash and then calling Caitlin Clark a bleep white girl. Just a reminder, this is who Joe Biden traded for the Russian merchant of death. So many WNBA players hate Caitlin.
On May 22, 2025, during a heated matchup between the Atlanta Dream and the Indiana Fever, controversy erupted not over a play, but over what was allegedly said courtside. Brittney Griner fouled out following a call involving Natasha Howard, not Caitlin Clark. But as Griner stormed off to the bench, cameras captured her visibly frustrated and seemingly mouthing something under her breath. That's when the firestorm began. Riley Gaines, a former NCAA swimmer and conservative commentator, shared a clip on social media, alleging that Griner called Caitlin Clark trash and a fing white girl. The post exploded online, amassing millions of views and triggering outrage among conservative fans who saw the alleged remark as a racist jab at Clark, the WNBA's breakout star and fan favorite. But here's the twist. The video had no audio. That left plenty of room for speculation. Former ESPN analyst Jemele Hill quickly pushed back, arguing that Griner had actually said trash and fing whack, call clearly referring to the referee's decision, not Clark. Hill accused Gaines of deliberately spreading misinformation to stir division, while others like sports analyst Skip Bayless stood firm, speculating that Griner's frustration was indeed directed at Clark's rising influence and media spotlight. Meanwhile, both the WNBA and Brittney Griner chose to remain silent, refusing to comment or offer clarification. That silence only made matters worse, fanning the flames of controversy and deepening the divide among fans and media voices.
G, right now you have 10 points, 5 rebounds. We see the Atlanta Dream as being very... Right now she's talking to the refs about holding. We're going to send it back to you guys.
Very important questions there, I'm sure, for Brittney Griner. She said
But Riley Gaines didn't stop there. She doubled down, publicly calling out what she described as the WNBA's blatant hypocrisy. In a series of pointed posts and interviews, Gaines argued that if the roles had been reversed, if Caitlin Clark had made a similar comment about a black player, the league would have responded swiftly and harshly, likely issuing fines, suspensions, or at the very least, a strong public condemnation. According to Gaines and her growing base of supporters, this double standard wasn't just unfair, it was deliberate. Her words struck a chord. Thousands of fans echoed her sentiment online, expressing frustration with what they viewed as the WNBA's selective accountability. To them, it felt like the league was shielding Griner, one of its long-established stars, while turning a blind eye to the growing incidence of what they believe is open hostility toward Caitlin Clark. Many felt that Clark, despite being the league's biggest draw and media darling, was being mistreated, targeted, and even vilified for her rising popularity and marketability. And then came another twist that only added to the uproar. Outkick, the conservative sports outlet Gaines collaborates with, was reportedly denied media credentials to cover WNBA events. For critics, this wasn't just a random decision, it looked like a deliberate attempt by the league to silence dissent and suppress coverage that didn't align with their preferred narrative. The move raised serious questions about media access, transparency, and whether the WNBA was actively trying to control public perception instead of confronting uncomfortable truths. This is where the situation took a shocking and deeply concerning turn. The WNBA's continued refusal to address the incident, clarify Griner's comments, or even acknowledge the growing public outcry sent a troubling message that maintaining control over the narrative might be more important to the league than acknowledging the possibility of racially charged comments or ensuring fair and equal treatment of its players. Rather than diffusing the situation, the silence has only added fuel to the fire, prompting broader discussions about race, favoritism, media censorship, and the integrity of the league itself. For many, it's no longer just about what was or wasn't Sadit's, about the WNBA's perceived unwillingness to hold all of its stars to the same standard.
In a viral clip, after she made a foul play, Griner appears to mouth something rather controversial. It might be, though we don't know, trash and possibly fucking white girl. Others have suggested it might be trash and fucking whack call. We don't know what she's mouthing, but she seems to, have a mouth on her and not exactly be in the gratitude space. Griner herself hasn't commented. Now, why is that? If you were being accused of making racist statements, I think you'd want to clear that up quickly. You'd race to the cameras and put out a statement on X to say, I said fucking whack call. I didn't say effing white girl. But she's not. She's apparently totally comfortable letting those allegations linger. Maybe she's worried that the people on the bench or the people right behind her had a recording going. You know how people do? They record the game. They want to show their friends that they were there. Maybe she's concerned that if she comes out and says it's one thing, there might be proof that it was something else. We don't know because she's not speaking.
The Caitlin Clark-Kennedy Carter incident isn't just an isolated moment, it's a symptom of a larger, growing issue within the WNBA over the past few seasons. The league has visibly aligned itself with progressive political movements, from Black Lives Matter to gender equity campaigns. While these causes resonate with many, critics argue they've also affected how the game is played unofficiated. A troubling perception has emerged that some players are protected, while others, like Caitlin Clark, are unfairly targeted. Clark, now in her second season, has been subjected to excessive physicality on the court, often without drawing the fouls she clearly earns. The verbal jab from Carter is just one in a string of moments where opponents appear emboldened to challenge Clark, perhaps because they sense the league won't step in. Former NBA star Ron Harper suggested Clark is being singled out not because of her race, but because of her talent. Yet, for many fans, that explanation falls short. They see a double standard, one that's hard to ignore. Take, for example, the league's contrasting responses. When Angel Reese posted a TikTok mocking Clark as a white girl, scared to catch this fade, the WNBA stayed silent. But when vague, unproven claims emerged about fans allegedly making racist remarks toward Reese, the league swiftly launched a 2-week investigation. To many, this imbalance speaks volumes.
Brittney Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittney Griner calls. I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittney Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
Or the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
Well, that pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts.
But here's the twist nobody saw coming. The WNBA's increasingly ideological stance may be pushing away its biggest asset, Caitlin Clark. Clark's meteoric rise has brought unprecedented attention to the league-packed arenas, viewership, and a level of mainstream media coverage the WNBA has long chased. Yet when she missed games in early 2025 due to a quad strain, the league's vulnerability without her became undeniable. The results were stark. Ratings took a nosedive, and fan engagement noticeably declined. it became clear the WNBA isn't just benefiting from Clark's star power, it's relying on it in 2024. Clark's rookie season saw Indiana Fever games regularly outperform the rest of the league in viewership by millions. Her much-anticipated rematch with Angel Reese drew over 10,000 fans to a Washington Mystics game. A matchup against the Mercury, featuring Brittney Griner and Diana Taurasi, drew 12,586 attendees, numbers that dwarfed typical WNBA game attendance. But in 2025, with Clark sidelined, that momentum evaporated. Fever games dropped sharply in ratings. The June 10th Fever vs. Dream game barely registered in viewership, despite a social media taunt from Griner afterward. The league's pivot to spotlight other stars, like Reese or Griner, hasn't resonated. Fans tune in for Clark. Without her, the WNBA struggles to fill seats and screens. And this is where things turn from concerning to critical. Rather than protecting their most valuable player, league officials and referees appear more focused on maintaining political optics. Clark continues to face unchecked physicality on the court, while controversial off-court comments, some racially charged, go unpunished. The silence is deafening. In a telling moment, Washington Mystics corner Sheila Johnson criticized Time magazine for naming Clark the 2024 Athlete of the Year, suggesting other players were more deserving. While the call for broader recognition isn't entirely unfounded, downplaying Clark's impact flies in the face of hard data. She is not just a player, she's the economic engine of the league. Enter Riley Gaines, who has become a polarizing voice in the debate. Using her platform to highlight what she sees as racial bias and league hypocrisy, Gaines directly accused Griner of using racial slurs in a May 23, 2025 post on X. The claim triggered a political firestorm. Conservatives rallied behind Gaines, while others condemned the accusation as inflammatory. But no matter where one stands politically, the underlying issue remains. Growing sentiment that the WNBA is hostile toward Caitlin Clark, not despite her popularity but because of it. Her race, her marketability, and her appeal to a broader fan base have made her a target in a league struggling to balance identity politics with competitive success. If the WNBA doesn't change course soon, they may lose more than a few ratings points. They could lose the very player keeping them in the national conversation.